openings.
And I got a lot of
she's-
gravity. I could do with about 20 pounds less of
Yeah, well,
gravity.
you know.
I said, well, who is it? And she
Maybe
said, well,
25.
I don't know, but I've heard it's a lady
This cold weather's what gets me.
in business. and lives in
Everything.
Potomac.
I got steel plates in my neck.
I said, I'm concerned.
It's
I
cold.
said, are you concerned? And she said, yeah, I am.
That's why I got this on. I get cold.
She said, that's why I'm here.
If I can keep my neck warm, I'm warm all over.
Well, I told her I'd keep it to myself.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
that was
crazy.
too good to let go. So, anyhow, I'm
No, just mentally.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Bob Iverson.
Here.
Michael Kane.
Here.
Jim Pichard.
Here.
Carolyn Wands.
Present.
Heidi Wilson.
Present.
Ed Butler.
Here.
Chairman Mike Poor.
Present.
7 present.
7 present, thank you. Item number 2 is approve the minutes. These will be the minutes from our last meeting, October 10th. There are no corrections. Need a motion to approve, please.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3, approve the agenda. There are just some corrections on M, O, and P. Just some additional language added in as to how we're paying for them and things, so, and from who. So that's the only changes to the agenda, so need a motion to approve, please.
Is that in?
That was your email this afternoon.
Was it put
It's in
into
the
this?
Dropbox. It's in the Dropbox.
It is the
Yeah.
Dropbox update, okay.
Excuse me, Chairman, it says amend at the top when you get to that item number.
It says amend on the, yeah.
And it's just the line item number, if I'm correct.
It's not even the number, it's the description of.
Yeah,
Description, okay, very good.
okay.
You have a motion yet?
So if there's no, what, need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Sorry, Chairman.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay, thank you. Item number 4, audience comments.
Did anyone wish to speak this evening? Okay, evidently not.
All righty, thank you very much. Chairman's comments, just remember Festival of Trees is going on until Wednesday's the last day, I believe, in it, Mayor? Wednesday or Thursday, I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
just
night.
tomorrow.
So, make sure you get to see that, and then, of course, everything else coming up, First Friday's coming up, and Night Lights Parade and all that fun stuff. So. All righty, moving on to the payrolls. Payrolls for November the 9th, need a motion to put those on the table.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Anybody over there? Oh, keep trying to find Miss Pickering over there. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Pichard.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Yeah. Moving on to item number 7, approval of vouchers payable. These will be from November 14th. Need a motion in a second, please.
So move. Second.
Questions on the payables? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Butler.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Pichard.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Item number 8, Public Transportation Director Beath. We have your monthly report and items information.
And basically, all I have on here is the information about our workshop on Thursday night. And then we had an increase in our ridership. We're still digging out of our COVID hole, but we had a 21% increase from last year's numbers. So I'll yield my time to Public Works because Illinois is on TV tonight.
Oh, okay. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Yes, I have one question.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I see, is this for profit or nonprofit, organizations? I see it is for, minorities.
You're talking about the DBE?
Yes.
It would be for-profit organizations,
for-profit
yeah.
organizations.
Community business people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Thank you.
And Lisa, they have video recording things for the basketball game. You don't have to be there.
Okay, moving on to Public Works Director Carpenter. We have 9A is an ordinance approving the purchase of real estate, 517 Chandler. Need a motion to put that on the table, please?
So moved. Second?
Anything on that, Logan? Or?
I guess if there's just in general, this is one of few houses left in this one neighborhood that we're trying to assemble properties for future redevelopment of some sort there. So that's really the reason we're going after it. There's only less than a handful left in this entire block, I would say.
So is that
This
north of Williams, or?
It's just south of Williams.
south of
So
Williams.
first block south of Williams Street.
It's where the school and things were.
Yeah, it's just south of the church, basically, where the church
School
was
was in
torn
a big
down.
lot, vacant
Right.
lot, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
You're comfortable paying that much for a empty lot?
It's not. It's actually a house, and they put it on the market, and we tried to. Well, as soon as I saw it, we snatched it up. So that was there was a lot of interest in this property from investors. So we were actually lucky to get it first, and they held it for us. So
Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Iverson,
Yes.
Alderman O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. If there's no objection, I'd like to take 9B and C together. One is ordinance authorizing the purchase of real property from the Vermillion trustee, prior listings, and C is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of real property from Vermillion County trustee, new listings. So if there's no objection, I'll take those both together. Need a motion in a second?
So move.
Second.
Okay, questions?
Why? Why so many empty lots?
So we went through, we hadn't looked at the empty lot. Most of these lots have been sitting for a long time, right? And nobody's taken them. So many of them are, depending on the funding source that we're paying for them with, many of them are in the floodplain and undevelopable. So we are looking at it from a stormwater management standpoint. We need to secure the property, add it to additional parkland, add it to it's going to be wild land that preserves floodplain, essentially, for the long-term benefit of the community. There are several parcels that are where we know we will have future sanitary sewer projects that, rather than us having to go buy easements off all these people, it's just cheaper to just own them and have control over what we're going to do there in the future. Many of the infrastructure development funded lots are in neighborhoods where there's been significant density loss, and that we're trying to take a strategy where we have more control over what the direction of that neighborhood might be, where we may be able to eliminate infrastructure to create long-term savings. We may be able to assemble parcels for future redevelopment, whatever that may be. So there's numerous neighborhoods all over town from that standpoint. I can't. That's the most general things. There's probably some oddball ones there.
Are we losing tax revenue by buying any of them?
I would say no, because the taxes have not been paid on them for probably 4 to 5 years. They went to the tax trustee. The tax trustee purchased them or acquired them or whatever a couple years ago. These have gone to auction before.
All 400 properties?
The first batch. So in ordinance 9B, the ones that we are wishing to acquire with that, those have all gone to auction and not been purchased before, at least once, if not some of them many, many times, actually. So what we have found is that when we let these parcels sit, they don't fall into the hands of people with constructive ideas, if that makes sense. They end up being more of a nuisance to us that we have to chase them through code enforcement rather than just saying, get your junk off our property and get out of here. It just becomes a regulatory burden for us. So we're really wanting to, as much as we don't like the idea of owning all the properties too, we think there's value in doing that. Something to notice too is if there's properties that need to be mowed, we're already mowing these properties.
That's what I was just gonna say.
So because we are mowing, the tax trustee and the county are not mowing any of these parcels. The city is mowing the ones that need to be mowed. Many of these may be in areas where honestly they can be turned back over to woods and things like that. So we would work away from having infrastructure in some of these locations, and so we can focus our resources on the areas where we need more good things happening, right? And less stringing ourselves out in areas to maintain a road that goes nowhere anymore.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
I still see a lot of houses not on this list that need to be demoed, and
So
some of this money could be used that way.
I'll note the structures. So the second ordinance is 55 structures and 25 vacant lots. This is every single structure on the Vermilion County trustee auction list this year. Not a single in the city of Danville structure on the list to go to auction is not on this list. So obviously the reason we do this and pick them all up is they are in terrible condition. And we're just getting ready for the grant funds that we already have and expect to keep coming in, knock on wood. Something I want to note as well, last year for the structures that we didn't buy, there were several that the city didn't pick up last year. The city has installed a legal system to where the individual that purchases this Vermilion County trustee property that has a structure on it, they have to inform the city's building inspector within a set number of days. Only 2 of the structures purchased last year from last year's auction list they came in with a plan on what to do with the property. None of those were completed. No rehabilitation was completed on those that were purchased.
So, and those properties, what do we do with them?
They go right back through the code enforcement regulations and likely go unpaid on taxes.
Yeah, I'm still looking at properties close to me that keep getting sold and nobody does anything with them. And then I look at the tax deal and the taxes haven't been paid in 6-7 years.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't tell you on the tax card. Sometimes those property taxes are being purchased by a separate individual besides the Vermilion County trustee, so those do not make it to the trustee auction.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty clear statement from our staff that we're all sick of getting jacked around by these people.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be aggressive with acquisition so that we're not wasting staff time and taxpayer dollars, because we don't like the idea of paying for these lots, but that's a lot cheaper than the legal fees and the staff time and all the other stuff that we deal with as an alternative. And going forward, because we're acquiring so many of these vacant lots, you will not see this many vacant lots come up again, because this list has sat for a very long time and built up. This is taking a huge hit or a huge chunk out of the available tax trustee properties.
Have we talked to the county and we won't have the same problem we had last year?
I would say that from conversations I've had, I don't expect that to be the case with the properties that have had a chance to go to auction before and not sold. You know, they would be, obviously those have had a chance to go onto the market. We don't know if they will make a stink about the other properties. That's why they've asked us to put justifications for why we want them, which we have done. And I think Logan or I are we would like to go to their county board meeting and be there to answer questions. But the problem is when this list goes, right, like one of us will have to miss and go. The issue is we have no idea when that's going to hit the county board list. It's not like they just bring it when they want to bring it. So they have to let us know when that's coming, and we'd be happy to go answer questions about our intentions with these parcels.
I don't anticipate the problems that we had last year, but you never know. There are some individuals who have ulterior motives when they address things. So hopefully we'll all work towards a common good for our community, and everyone will remember that Danville is in fact a big part of Vermilion County. Also, I would like to let everyone know that with these structures, I mean, we've seen what happens when we don't buy them, and that's why we're getting them all. Basically, what happens is someone puts no money into them. They often move families in them. We've even had families with a newborn child in Mrs. Pickering and Miss Wilson's wards, where you had people with a newborn child living in a garage because they were fixing up the house that they purchased on the BCT that literally had no floors inside of the home. A roof as big as this, a hole in the roof the size of this dais, but they're going to fix it up and leave it. And so then that leads us, our code enforcement people, trying to figure out what's going on. Administrator Finch with Human Relations trying to figure out where we can get these folks into emergency housing when we have to evict them. And long story short, and our legal team going after them, we spend a lot of staff time and resources, people being put in bad situations that if we can stave them off, it's best for us, for the taxpayers, and for us as a city as well.
I expect this to pass, but I do ask that we get a list that I could read next time without a magnifying glass.
Very small.
I could certainly send, this is the only way I could fit it into the agenda, but I can send an Excel list that isn't as wide as this.
So you said there's 55 structures and 25 vacant lots in the second, the big group. How many are there in the first? I think I count 5, but I could be wrong.
It's 5. It's down there in really small font
Yeah.
on the second sheet. It's 5 structures,
Okay.
5 structures, 148 or 6.
146
Lots,
lots. Yep, and then there's breakdowns on fund codes and stuff like that on that second sheet as well.
Don't know why I couldn't read that.
Let's do this.
And so at the same time, those lots, the neighbors, if they're, willing to go out and mow them, keep them up, they can purchase those lots in the near future.
Yeah, so we do have a side lot program for adjacent homeowners. They can purchase them for $99, but they do have to come to Public Works and fill out an application. They are vetted thoroughly to make sure things like property maintenance on their own properties are up. They're paying their taxes, things like that. So they go through a approval process for that.
Yeah, and I would not say that there's a large percentage of these that will not be available for side lot sale, because the purpose is the city to acquire them for either future projects or for, removal of infrastructure or whatever. And if we introduce another ownership party there, we create obligations and long-term cost burdens that we're trying to get away from. So some of them will be, some of them won't be. And, anybody is welcome to apply for any city-owned lot. There's a team of us that do preliminary reviews to all of those to make sure that we're not creating a situation for ourselves by getting rid of it, and then those go to the mayor for approval per city ordinance. So
We're only doing the ones that are highlighted, right? Because there's hundreds. Are we doing everybody?
No,
Everything?
all of them. So the ones that are highlighted are structures.
Structures.
The
okay.
ones that are not highlighted are vacant lots.
So we're talking 146 lots totally?
146 from the first batch, and then another
25 in the second.
25 in the second, vacant lots.
So 171 total, Vice Chairman.
60 structures.
60 structures.
60 structures and 170.
On both pages.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman O'Kane,
I still got some others to put on this list, but yes,
Pashard,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Iverson.
It pains me that we have this situation in the city that we have to do this. But because if we don't, like the mayor says, it's just going to get worse. Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9D is a resolution approving professional services and the budget amendment for the downtown parking study. Need a motion to put that on the table, please?
So moved.
Second. Who's taking that one?
I can take it. So this is basically setting up professional services to do a study of the parking downtown. That would include like a current condition assessment as far as what lots are available. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard maybe different complaints from different entities downtown or in the downtown area. That's looking to clean that up for one, but then also look at, we want to set ourselves up for future as well. So making sure that the way we are operating in parking management, in the use of the lots that are available and owned by the city, all of that is reviewed, and then they're going to also do a parking adequacy model, demand modeling. Basically, they're going to say, okay, during peak times and with an addition of so many businesses, like we really need to be set up this way so that we're set up for the future. So we're trying to set ourselves up for future growth. but then also eliminate a lot of the issues we're currently having. That would be looking at things like whether the most cost-effective approach to monitoring parking, whether that is, meter pay or pay by the spot at, pay stations, things of that nature, looking at different options, going through and really just an analysis of all that to find what is the ideal approach for what we currently have and what we may have in the future, and let's set up a step system to work towards things, basically.
Other questions?
Chairman, I think that I would just add that, in my opinion, this is really important because when I first became mayor, I got complaints every week, weekly. There were about 3 or 4 businesses that called me and said, Mayor, we have people that are parking in front of our business all day. People that were going to the courthouse, people that were going, other store owners parking in front of somebody else's store, And then they were getting complaints because folks in the community were saying, we can't park, so we're not going in to shop. We're not going in to do business. So I called Director Carpenter and I said, Director, we have an issue here. What should I do? And he was like, well, Mayor, there's something simple you could do. We have an ordinance on the books that says that there's a 2-hour regulation of parking downtown. So we could start implementing, enforcing that. Thank you, Chairman. Enforcing that, and then that'll solve our problems. So I did, and 2 things happened. Number 1, the businesses stopped calling, or they started calling to say thank you. We appreciate it because people can park in front of our business now. Then we started getting complaints from people who were downtown saying, well, I got a ticket for being down here. That's discouraging me from wanting to shop downtown. Now, you fast forward 2.5 years, and we have a thriving downtown once again. We're not where we want to be, but we're headed in the right direction. We have many more shops and things like that than we did before. You could spend a half a day to a day downtown easily shopping, eating, going to see a show at the Fisher. So now the business owners are getting mad because their patrons are getting tickets, So the same folks that were calling 3 years ago saying, get these people from out in front of my business, because business has improved so much, are saying, hey, stop ticketing my customers. So we've got to figure out a long-term strategy. We want people to come down. We want them to shop. We want them to support our businesses. We want them to attend events. So we've got to figure out a way to do it that's going to be a balance of all the different needs of everyone. And I'm hoping that this study will help us accomplish that.
Yeah, can I ask a question there too? Now, this parking garage that we have over here and then we got across the street over here, this parking, I mean, if people gonna spend that much time, in our mall shopping, why can't they park there? I mean, they're for free.
Good question.
I know you took the top deck off over on the west side.
Yeah.
It looked like. But
No, those are both available parking for free.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times patrons don't want to walk that far, maybe. That would be my best assumption at the moment.
Alderman Butler, you're right though. We go to Indianapolis, Chicago, St. Louis for a ball game or something, and we think nothing walking a half a mile to get cheap parking to be able to walk there. But here we won't. Our own city, sometimes we won't walk 2 blocks to go do what we want to do. And I think we've got to just help change folks' mindsets on the way we do this. And also, in this study too, right now we have paid parking, like the business owners rent parking from us in some of the lots that are closer. Well, maybe it's more effective if we send all the business people to the parking garages or to the furthest parking lots, and then let folks, that are shopping or going for counseling or whatever it might be, or coming for an event, park closer. And again, because none of us are parking experts, we're hoping that they'll be able to help us figure out and balance all of this so that it works for the business owners, that it works for the patrons and our citizens who are coming downtown to do business and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, okay. And so now, do we own where the old township building used to be? Yeah. Do we own that lot? Okay, now,
Yes.
That lot could be paved and with those drive-in banks, drive up, what you call them? Banks over here across the street from
War Museum.
the old War Memorial, yes, building.
Yeah. Well, our hope, Mr.
Do we own that as well?
We do not own the ones, we do not own the former bank site. We do own the one where the township building used to be. But our hope is to see also, do we have enough? You know, we're inclined to believe that we might have enough parking downtown if people are
Right.
willing to park a little further, but we don't know that for sure. So this study will also tell us that and tell us if we need, a parking lot next to the temple. Quite honestly, once we get restaurants and such in Turk, we very well will need, more parking, but we don't know for sure. But this study will hopefully help us to be able to figure that out.
A few years back, Evansville closed a section of their, what they call the main street or our Vermilion here, for no vehicle traffic. And they had ample parking close to nearby, and so it forced the customers to get out and walk up and down the main venues, and they said their sales increased because people, instead of driving by the store, was being able to walk by it and see what they had, and it increased their sales.
We had
Is
one
that-
time. We had them all. We had you could not drive down Vermilion.
Before you moved here, Alderman Pritchard, when I was
That's what I
little.
Yep.
Sears, Penny's,
We
everything
had all
up
kind of toys out there that we could play on. And
Right.
It was closed.
Yeah.
And everybody had, that's when the parking garages were built to accommodate
Mm-hmm.
Sears, I
people.
think, is downtown.
Yeah.
Woolworth.
Lowers, Kresge,
Yep.
Leaf Furniture. No. How far back do you want to go?
Right.
I was gonna say, I'm starting to not remember some of those, y'all. We did, it was a big thing though, to come to Sears and go school shopping though.
Yep.
One of the first malls built in the U.S.
Really?
Yep.
Know that.
Yeah, I kind of think in this day and time, people has gotten too relaxed, so somewhat lazy, don't want to walk. I mean, that's, you look at a lot of us, so we need to exercise, and, that's, we need to just, instead of spending a whole bunch of money, I mean, say, hey, you park over there. You don't have a choice. You need to walk anyhow.
Go give them your phone number.
That's gonna be your job.
Let the record reflect that was Alderman Butler, not us.
I'll take the heat.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
of
did
course,
notice there's a,
Danville Mass Transit will take you right to the storefront.
Right.
Too, so.
the reprinted purchase order concerning the parking garage, that just,
So this was a little while back. We had appropriated funds to continue with, so we did a parking garage assessment,
okay.
focusing on the parking garage. We got a lot of good information about that, but what we didn't get is enough information on all the rest of downtown to say, oh, do we really know what we want to do here? So there was money set aside for that was not spent. And it was encumbered in a PO, so we're wanting to close that and apply that money to this project as part of it.
35,000 of, that
Correct.
35,000 be applied to this.
Yes.
That makes a difference.
Okay, other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Pritchard,
Yes.
Swans,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
I guess yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9E is a resolution approving professional service agreement for the Clarence and Kenny Street sanitary sewer improvements. Need a motion to put that on the table. Nobody?
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Where is Kinney Street?
Yeah.
Well, it is just north of Seminary and just east of Plum. So it's like, at least the part that I'm thinking of is like a 1-2 block stretch there. I don't know if there's other sections of it. But it's it's kind of by Plum and Clarence and that whole area there.
Is it back where the little apartments and stuff is? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it goes
I
up by
never
there.
heard of Kinney Street. I know where Clarence is, but I was confused.
Yeah, so this area, it's actually never really been built out with proper public sanitary sewers. There've been numerous issues there of people having sewer issues, and can't get to a public line, can't figure out where theirs goes. This is actually a project that's in the capital plan for starting engineering this year anyway, and it so happens that on our ARPA stormwater projects, we're also focusing on stormwater improvements in this area. So we wanted to package the two together, make sure this one's going along, and then we can hopefully bid them out as one project and fix that area, at least resolve that issue, in that area of town. So
How large an area is this gonna help?
So this is, I would say it's a couple blocks, basically. It's not a huge area, but they
This
literally.
portion of it isn't.
Yeah, this portion of it's not. But so if I had to guess, I mean the equivalent of maybe 4 city blocks, something like that. So, but we've got several other areas like this that we'll be addressing coming down the pipeline. This one's just out in front because we need to coordinate it with this other project.
There was a map, the last page of that ordinance, there's a map showing
Oh yeah,
where it is.
thanks, Mike. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, I mean,
Because
that's,
if you fix this area, it'll help other areas at some point too, when the whole system gets continually hooked together.
Yeah, and I mean, from a storm sewer, the drainage will help, in on one sense. The sanitary sewer, if we don't provide adequate sanitary sewer service, people don't want to live in these houses, and then they end up being houses that we have to tear down, or something down the road. So we really we want to make sure that we provide the opportunity for the right quality of life, in these areas.
You have to have good eyes to see
And
it.
unfortunately, there were areas that were either approved to be developed or annexed or whatever else without proper things in place many, many decades ago.
so Plum is between Porter and Crawford.
Yep.
And north of Seminary.
Yeah, when it does rain, you can find a lot of water there, but it hadn't rained much last year.
Okay, other questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wands,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Four,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9F is a resolution approving an easement for the underground transmission of signals. Need a motion to put that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Telegraph or?
So that sounds very sophisticated, in the thing, but it's actually, we're just giving them an easement to run a fiber optic line from Fairchild Street to the Garfield Pool is essentially what's happening. It's going across a couple of the lots that we acquired, rather than running around the block and things. So we indicated we give them an easement, and here's what we're doing.
Are they gonna drill this or board?
They're gonna drill or bore some of it, but most of it's through like open lots. So
there's no sewer lines or things going through that they can go through?
no, and we'll be, that's one of the nice things. We'll be abandoning most of the sewers and
Right.
stuff through that area too. So
Kidding, but
yeah,
they have
I
a
mean,
tendency when they
if
bore
it can be hit, it will be hit.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
And
It
they'll
won't
tell
be
you-
on our time.
We didn't do that. Okay, questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Four,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9G is a resolution amending the contract for bid 719, 2023 crack sealing. Need a motion and a second, please?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, so we're asking for amendment for 2 reasons. One is due to an increase in the amount of material that we used on the project versus estimate. So, I mean, if you can imagine, take a mile of road and look at it and estimate how much crack you're going to be filling there. It's kind of ballpark, right? So we used more than what we thought on these roads, partially because we're actually getting to roads that haven't been done in a long time. So they're worse than some of our earlier ones that we did. The second bit of the change order was related to vegetation removal in the roadway. So all of these cracks that that are supposed to be sealed up were growing full of plants and all kinds of other stuff. So it took a lot of extra work for them to get all that out so they could seal the cracks. So that's really the whole gist of the change order there.
Alderman Kane.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Alderman Kane.
Just, you have to give an estimate of what they have to fill, they don't do that?
Well, so we have to bid it still. So we have to like estimate the quantities, you know, to put it in the bid document. So each contractor is saying, okay, for this amount of material, here's your price. We do it by the pound of material they use. So
They don't go by linear feet or anything?
we used to do both, linear feet and pound, and we would literally have to have somebody out there measuring every foot of crack that they routed, and it was like the worst job in the world. And we don't have the staff to do that. So we've regrouped and done it just all by the pound. We still supervise, but we're not out there with like wheels chasing these cracks all over the road as they do it.
It just seems like you could have them say, this block costs so much and this block could cost so much, but.
And we probably could. I mean, we try to make it so that we know we're getting a fair comparison, and the most, competitive bidder gets the work, and then we just adjust based on the amount of material. So their guess is probably as good as ours most of the time. We want them to go aggressive, and we're willing to pay, when we're a little bit wrong or when we do extra work. That's the other nice thing is we have a price per pound. So if we're like, oh, well, we need to add this city street over here too, we just add it. Because this is the cheapest game in town as far as pavement preservation goes. So it's the least exciting project, but in some senses, I sleep a lot better at night when this is done.
Count pebbles.
Yeah.
Alderman Butler.
Sam, I was looking at comparing the roads and stuff there. I made a comment about how smooth it was, so further, north and all. And then I looked at Anderson College and what's that, Campbell, and in those streets there. I don't know if you ran out of material. A tar there, the gravel is still, I hear the guys still, getting rubber there,
Yeah,
and blowing that gravel all over the place.
so it should be,
I don't know.
because of weather, and just temperatures changing, they had to sweep it pretty quick compared to usual. I
Yeah.
think there probably is some loose gravel there still, and hopefully our street sweepers, the contractor's done one round, it will continue to loosen up. Certainly it's a different pavement treatment in that neighborhood than some of the others. And that's mainly because when we do certain treatments, it triggers the need to upgrade curb ramps. And the amount of curb ramps in that neighborhood would have quadrupled the cost of the project overall. So we weren't able to select that preservation treatment and still get anything done and cover that much ground, if that makes sense. So I would like to have done a little bit something different there, but regulations make it so that I can't without adding another $750,000 to that project or something. So and it has mostly compliant curb ramps, not 100% to today's standards. So.
Yeah, okay, there, because I thought the weather had something to do with it, and the leaves falling, and I just kind of informed the people that you're gonna sweep it.
Yes, we'll probably be sweeping it multiple times this fall, right?
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
4,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9H is a resolution amending the fiscal year 23-24 Danville Area Transportation Study Fund 116 budget. Need a motion to put that on the table?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so the gist is we had not anticipated having DATS funding for fiscal year 23-24. We did end up getting grant term, basically the funding for the agency extended through this year. In anticipation of not having the agency around, we didn't pass a budget for it. So this is approving the budget and the expenditures that go with the grant funding. So this is all federal and state grant money that will be spent through here.
So we better spend it this year?
Yeah,
So
I've
we
got-
don't ask for it next year?
Oh yeah, for sure. We don't get it after, that, and I've got 95% of it already obligated. So I went to start spending money, and Ashlyn told me I didn't have a budget to spend it out of. So she's good about that stuff.
Miscellaneous. Other questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Chairman Iverson?
Yes.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
Wands? Wilson?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Hoare?
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9I is a resolution approving the demolition and additional site work at 26 Nicholas. Need a motion with that, please?
So move.
Second.
Okay, what occurred here was, as you see, we had the original $7,500 purchase order to cover the demolition. When the demolition was done, the entire property was probably roughly 6 foot higher than the William Street is and Nicholas Street. So I determined that in order for us to get proper drainage, we were going to cut all that down, and it also had several very large trees on it. And since Owens was already there doing the work, we had them cut the trees down and contour the ground so that it slopes from the house on the south side to William Street without a great big hill being there anymore. And you see the total of it was $21,438 instead of $7,500.
Alderman Kane?
Well, and the plans are to use that part of that property for future storm drains or something like that? Wasn't that what I was told when I asked you if the neighbor could buy it?
No, I think you're thinking of another lot. This is right on the corner of Nicholas and.
Just the house that had caught fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
it.
one. Because the guy that lives just south of that was a retired fireman. He wanted to buy that property, and the city told me that they couldn't. It was going to be for future.
I'm trying to picture where this is. So yeah, Nicholas is just east of National, right?
Yeah.
So the East Main Street corridor plan, there's basically future plans to daylight and open up this big culvert that goes down National Street. We want to make sure that we have enough property there to do the work that's intended. So yeah, at least for the time being until that's done, we intend to hold the parcel.
Anybody else? Was that opening up Cohen Creek, or what creek was that going to open up? Cohen? Yeah. It went toward the motel and stuff. Yeah. The VA. Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
Wands?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Hoare?
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9J is a resolution authorizing a grant application to the U.S. EPA for a Brownfield Assessment Coalition grant. I guess, can we do J and K together? The others approving an agreement for environmental services for the U.S. EPA site cleanup grant, bid 732.
They're separate.
Oh, they're separate?
Yeah.
Okay. Disregard, we'll just do J.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I need a motion second.
So move.
Second.
Okay. So for those of you, I think mostly everybody should be aware of the Brownfield Assessment Grant Program. We had those funds that were applied for and received in 2017 all the way up to 2021. So we've applied unsuccessfully for the last 2 cycles. It's not for a lack of application quality. I hate to say it, but sometimes it's political, and sometimes EPA shifts their scoring criteria. For instance, last year, no prior Brownfield Assessment Grant dollars were funded to a community that had it in the past throughout the country. So we didn't get them last year. So this is our fresh take at a new application this year. This year, we're actually requesting to apply for an application that is for the entire Vermilion County, managed by the city of Danville. There's obviously several benefits to that. Instead of $300,000 grant maximum, it's a $1.5 million grant maximum. We intend to apply in the application with partners per EPA guidelines. We have to have 3. It's City of Danville, Vermilion County, and Vermilion Advantage. I've contacted all of the entities with the help of Vermilion Advantage throughout Vermilion County, and we've had a couple of meetings to let them know what are these assessment grants anyway, and how are you going to help me? Well, a lot of people don't know how many contaminated sites are in their small communities, and we know how many we have here. We've learned from experience. So this is what we believe is our best approach to get approval for an assessment grant through the US EPA. A lot of dollars have been allocated for coalition assessment grants, so this is our fresh look, our fresh take at this application this year.
How long will this take to hear back?
They are not speedy on their grant review process. They probably will not make an award until October of 24.
Okay. No.
We'll forget about it by then, yeah.
Can you tell me when the application is due?
Very soon, this week.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yep.
I applaud you for getting a coalition. I think that's the kind of thing we need to do more of. Vermilion County and Vermilion Advantage and City of Danville, we all obviously have very similar goals, and I think working together is the way to go.
Yeah, these communities, you know, I believe they've learned a lot even through the application process, letting them know what a brownfield site even is, and I had them all do some homework and pick out some sites and send them to me.
Vice Chairman, I would say this, and then you're going to see item L2. These are things we've been working on a while that I kind of mentioned previously, but we are working aggressively with our partners throughout the community because, as I tell everyone, we're all in this together. And, you know, as goes Danville, goes the rest of the county, and as goes the rest of the county, goes Danville. So in times where we can work together to make good things happen in all of our communities, we've got to.
Have we started doing some of our work on some of these sites so that if we get some money, we can progress?
We've got a list of these, but we haven't started on them. It's really just for the phase 1 and phase 2 process. So when you start them, you finish them.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. Sam, go ahead.
I was going to say the grant that we're applying for is actually to help assess these sites.
Right. We can't
do
any work there.
But we're not starting the work until we get these funds. So we're hoping to use
like
it.
The ones that we had 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, like what we did, how we started the first Farmers Bank site. Yep.
Okay, roll call please on J.
Alderman Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands, Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9K is a resolution approving an agreement for environmental services for the US EPA site cleanup grant bid number 732. Need a motion to put that on the table.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so in the same breath, this is in regards to the US EPA site cleanup grant that we were awarded. It's just shy of $1 million. It's for what we've coined as the Fonders dry cleaner site. That's what's caused most of the contamination on the intersection of Fairchild and Vermilion. This is the start of the project. We are mandated to bid out and consult with a qualified environmental professional to help us manage these grant funds and then perform the work that we're just not qualified to do, like bidding out actual companies to drill the site, do lab work, things like that. They'll also help us with public participation and just overall grant management. But again, this is a very small piece. As you'll see, the contract amount is for $87,750. We did receive 3 bids for this RFP process. They were very good. It was a very competitive process. The proposed firm to hire is Fairgram and Associates. They have helped us manage pretty much all of our brownfield assessment grants since 2012. They were awarded the contract back in 2017 to help the city manage the brownfield assessment grant. They're very qualified. We trust them, and they sent a really good proposal to us and competitive. All the proposals were within 5% of one another on cost.
And so that also include that building there that, I know it was the old bank and the cleaner. it includes that building that the old vape building we just purchased?
So no, this is that building unfortunately could not get included into this grant application. We couldn't get the prior owner to jump on board with that. So it includes the prior First Farmers Bank, the old apartment building to the south of it, the dry cleaners, and the Hazel Street property just to the south of where the prior vape shop used to be. So it's a substantial amount of remediation.
Right.
A little under 2 acres.
Yeah, the corner, hopefully once we're all said and done, we'll have around 2 acres of developmental site.
Other questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Wands?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
4,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. 9L is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Danville and the Village of Tilton for the expansion of the Vermilion County Enterprise Zone. Need a motion to put that on the table, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, as the mayor alluded to, this is the theme of the agenda tonight is teamwork. We were approached by the Village of Tilton to expand our current Vermilion County Enterprise Zone. Something a lot of people don't know is this is not City of Danville's Enterprise Zone solely. Our Enterprise Zone that we manage does go outside of our municipal limits in several areas. It does already go over the Tilton community line. It just doesn't go over very much area. It's in 2 sites that are just vacant land that they were looking at prior redevelopment on. Once they did request that we expand the enterprise zone, we don't have a legal description. This is sheerly just the city council giving us the blessing to proceed with adopting resolutions to partner with Tilton to expand the enterprise zone. So more resolutions will come after this. It's mandated via state law. But as a couple of conditions for this request, you'll see as an attachment to this resolution, we have requested a couple of stipulations that they adopt as a municipality. We want them to basically be on the same playing field from a building perspective. If they're going to be providing tax incentives, we want to make sure that these structures are being built safely. They're going to be liable, but so are we, because we are the managers of the building improvements that we would be incentivizing through the state of Illinois. So basically, in summary, you can go through this list. We're asking them to adopt a building code, which they've already done. Have a either hired staff member that will regulate building code, have a building process, have an inspections process, and all of those things need to be submitted to the City of Danville, certified by what we believe is going to be a consultant and maybe one staff member in the Village of Tilton. So bringing them up to the same playing field as the City of Danville for multiple reasons, but safety being one, and state law for other items.
Right.
Yeah, and that will only apply to the enterprise zone projects. Something that's not listed here, but a benefit that they've offered to us that we're excited about is not just the ability to amend the enterprise zone for them, but to actually work with their consultant and amend the city's, portion of the enterprise zone within the city as well. So we're going to get to work through this in partnership with them, and certainly there's a lot of value to be gained by the city out of the process as well.
Yeah, this isn't touched on very often with the city council because we don't need to come to city council for approval on the incentives offered through, this is a state program. Just to touch on it really, really quickly, if you are in these mapped out zones for incentives in the City of Danville, which covers a lot of it, a lot of the City of Danville is in this, there's 3 main incentives, and it's all in relation to building materials and structural improvements to the property. So number 1 that's used most heavily is the sales tax credit is what they call it, but it's essentially you don't pay sales tax on all building materials that they apply through the City of Danville. We process it through the state. We give them a certificate. They give it to the supplier. They don't pay sales tax on those building materials. It can be a pretty hefty incentive. The second is for property tax abatement. It kind of functions just like the TIF. That's why they can't overlap. But you'll see it like on the FedEx, for example. It starts with initial assessed value. Anything that's increased on that assessed value can get an abatement of some type. It just depends on the amount of investment that's put into the building, and it goes from 25% to 50% to 75%. 75% is a $10 million investment, so those are the really big projects. Anything under that gets a 25% property tax abatement on improvements is up to like $200,000. So it can be substantial as well. And the third is half price building permit fees. So, any questions on that?
Good partnership. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. If there's no objection, I'd like to take 9M through Q together. They're all resolutions dealing with the purchase of equipment. So if there's no objection, I'd like to take approving the purchase of light duty code enforcement truck, a budget amendment to purchase of 2 public works vehicles, approving the purchase of a medium duty engineering truck, approving the purchase of a heavy duty sewers truck, and approving the purchase of a Parks 1 ton dump truck.
So move.
Second.
Okay.
So basically, this is done the same. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So 4 of these are already in our capital improvement plan, and I've included in there. So I used a few different options, but we've always looked to shop local first. Called local dealerships to find out, hey, this is the list of vehicles I'm looking for. Do you have access to any of those? Vermilion Chevy was able to come up with one of these, and then Courtesy Motors was able to come up with one of those as well. So we're looking to buy 2 local, and then also we have a few websites that we looked that encompasses all dealerships, even countrywide. A few of these, like the 1 ton dump truck, is a lot harder to find than, say, Chevy Colorado is. So some of those can only come from special dealerships. We use special websites that search countrywide, and we found them around. There's a dealership that we've used in the past that happened to have one on site, a commercial Ford dealership up around Chicago area. And they also had the heavy duty sewers truck. They already have a F-250 that has it's set up exactly like we would want it, with a plow and everything, and it's sitting on their lot already. So those are very hard to come by. So we look at price first of all, and I've basically included we've already looked at all of these different options. I've included the cheapest option or the most cost-effective option while still shopping local for most of these. So anyway, on top of that, then finding the things that are available as well. So this is what we've come up with for the list. I've put those on there. The reason I'm not specifically stating dealerships is because we can't always guarantee that the dealership's going to hold on to a truck while we're waiting to go through council. So if not, we'll have that money approved, and I'll make sure that, okay, we'll find a vehicle that fits within the budget still. So outside of that, basically we've looked at parameters of what different vehicles are going to be used for over the lifetime of the vehicle. So there's some of those that'll stay in engineering, such as we looked at buying a small SUV like a Chevy Equinox or a Ford Edge and that type of thing. Chevy had a lot cheaper versions of things that we're able to get our hands on right now than Ford did. However, there's other ones that are, easier to get our hands on that are Fords as well. So we just look at all those options. We look at where those vehicles might end up. We like to purchase mostly trucks that are able to pull trailers, because even though they might be used in engineering for the beginning of their life, after they get old enough, we always use the older vehicles with auxiliaries pulling around mowers to different places, and I don't really want an auxiliary pulling around, a mower with a $60,000 brand new truck. So, so we usually hand me down and replace that way. So that's why we look to get trucks, even if they're light duty, because they can still pull a lawnmower. So,
Questions?
Unconfuse me on the first one. It says limit of $47,000, and then right below it says you got a truck here for 26.
So yes, so but the reason I put 47,000, that is what is budgeted in the capital improvement plan. However, we decided we could go the route of a light duty vehicle for a pickup truck for that. So that's a lot cheaper. That one is being held our name's on it at that Chicago dealership. That's a commercial dealership. However, I just put it through because that's what's budgeted in the capital improvement plan. But the intent is that is the vehicle we'll buy. That is another good thing to note. So basically all of these work together with what money is in the budget versus what we're looking to spend. We should be saving from what we budgeted. We'll be looking at saving roughly, it's like $21,000 and some change in the difference. So we'll be saving that much money when you look at kind of all these vehicles overall versus what we budgeted.
Seemed like we bought the Mavericks last year for 22 or 23 or something like that.
And that's what this one will be used for. It'll go to Jim Simon's crew. They'll all be Mavericks.
And unfortunately, vehicles right now, they're selling them, they're inflating the price from the MSRP scale just because they're hot commodities, I guess, is what that's the verbiage that was used. They're hot commodities.
They have it, we need it.
Yep.
So are these trucks four-wheel drive?
Depending on what the use is. The medium-duty engineering truck is a two-wheel drive because it'll never be used in snow events or anything of that nature. And then let's see. Then the two public works vehicles, those are also two-wheel drive because those will be in the community development and engineering side. But the things used in operation side, are four-wheel drive and ready to plow. Both of the item P and item Q, those will both have plows on them, ready to plow.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call please on 9, O through Q.
Alderman Butler,
M through Q, excuse me.
Iverson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Fur,
Oh, yes.
7 yes.
So, yes,
That's
thank
my
you.
fault. I was.
Item 9R, items information, Mayor.
Well, I wanted to start out by telling you that we have some amazing news for our community. And since he did a lot of the work, he and Kaylee Sanchez from our finance department, our grants administrator, I want to let him tell you about it. So, Logan.
Yeah. Kind of been biting my tongue on this one.
The rest of our team, I mean, everyone, there's so many people did a lot, but those two kind of took the lead on this.
Been biting my tongue on this one for a couple of weeks now. Got an exciting grant award. It's been a couple of months now. We asked for your blessing to apply for a grant through the Illinois Housing and Development Authority for home rehabilitations. And we were actually awarded $1,425,000 for home rehabilitations.
Yeah.
There are going to be some stipulations that come out to these. They're income based. They're generous income based applications. It's up to 150% of either HUD standards or census tract. They haven't given me a clarification on that. You can spend up to $65,000 per home. They're on health and safety improvements. You can stretch that to as far as you think you can. So electrical, plumbing, porches, roof, nothing. Well, you can put new additions on. That's probably not going to be our main focus. So you name it, up to $65,000. We're going to be releasing out all the program materials as soon as I get a grant agreement in front of me within the next month. It's a pretty quick closing process on this one. So yeah, we're really excited. I was kind of shocked when we got it. I believe it was a very competitive grant program. And this is another grant that was filtered through federal through COVID funding.
Awesome.
One question, a person has to agree to remain in that property X number of years or
Yes.
anything to?
Yeah. So there will be a contract and a recapture agreement filed through IDA, but prepared by the city of Danville. It will be prorated through, I believe it's 3 years. You have to stay in the home. So if you sell it within 2 years, it'll be prorated that 1 year. So.
And then you said that the qualifications is the HUD qualification.
So I'm not going to disclose a lot of details because, like I said, I don't have the grant agreement in front of me, and they haven't given a lot of information. But the stuff that I do know, it will be income based, and we did apply for citywide, but certain areas as well. So we will release those target areas in a program policy once we get the grant guidelines. Yep.
What's the program term in terms of the length of time we have to spend the money?
It's interesting because this is going to be a quick one. So we have to have 25% of the funds spent by the end of September 2024. This is not a reimbursement based program. This is they will give the city of Danville 50% of the funding up front.
However, we will use it as a reimbursement. We're not going to give someone $65,000.
Oh, correct. No. We will hire the contractors. Yeah, we'll bid it out. We will be assisting the homeowner. That's how this works. In summary, we will be assisting the homeowner to bid out a contractor. The contractor and homeowner will be contracting together as the city as the middleman. That's the program rules for this. So 25% of the funds have to be spent by September of 2024. Then we'll have another year after that to spend 75% of the funds. And then we can stretch this out to, I think it's 2.5 years to spend all of these dollars. We've got our work cut out for us to get to September. So we're going to get a pretty quick application out as soon as I know the program guidelines.
These contracts will have to be licensed in the city of Danville.
Oh, yeah. So local building codes and state laws will have to be followed. And then there's going to be a couple of extra things. I'm not 100% certain about this, but since they are federal dollars, they're probably going to have to follow federal guidelines, meaning they're going to have identification numbers to show that they are not disbarred to do work as a contractor. It will not be a prevailing wage. Rehabs are not subject to prevailing wage, but there will be a select pool of contractors that we can only select from.
Similar like HUD does with.
Exactly. It will likely be exactly like we do CDBG. So this is a PSA to the contractors of the city of Danville. It's called a UEI number obtained through sam.gov. Get the process going now if you want to get in on a $1.4 million grant.
You going to approve that, Sam?
You on the website?
Great news.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful it happened tonight. With this kind of program, maybe a lot of houses can be fixed and improved so we don't have to buy 140 structures in the future because they're not usable anymore. This can keep things usable for a lot of people who need it.
Yeah.
I have another question. What's our, obviously I know we have a lot less money in this, but what is our yearly spend on CDBG?
For demolitions?
No.
All of it?
For rehabs.
Oh, for rehabs, it's $250,000. $250,000 for rehabs. We split it 50-50 between rehabs and demolitions.
And do we have I'm just, I'm a project manager amongst many other hats. Do we have enough contractors in our system now to be able to accommodate all of this work?
It's a great question. Boy, I hope so. Honestly, probably not. we are going to have to vet and solicit this heavily.
It's a great problem to have.
It is.
Yeah.
They're busy. And a lot of them are retiring.
You know, we need to, Alderman Pickering, I'm sorry.
Oh,
How soon can people start applying for this?
I've drafted what I think the program policy is going to look like, because I get a little anxious with that timeline. I'm hoping to have applications accepted probably by February. That's at the latest in my mind. But it's all up to the closing process, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And this money is direct from federal to us, no pass through state, correct?
No, this is ARPA funding that's filtered through the state IDA.
Oh, I.
Yeah.
What has been our experience with IDA previously? Like, are they quick to turn around funds and contracts and paperwork?
This might be me brown nosing because we've received $2 million in the past year, but I believe they're one of the best grant organizations that I've worked with.
Okay. I have some that are not.
Vice Mayor, they've been good on turnaround time. In fact, I just got some paperwork to sign
what grant do you
today,
have
I
up your
believe,
sleeve
to
you're working
DocuSign.
on?
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to do this, but at some point, I mean, with everything going on, we just don't have time. But I would like, at some point, I'm going to bring to you what our team has brought in grant revenue to our community, and we're in tens of millions easily. So I just want to thank them for their continued efforts. Every time that we get money from another source that doesn't have to come from here locally, it means we can use our local money on something else that our people need. So thanks, guys, for all of your work.
That's why it's so important to have qualified people.
Vice Mayor.
Who's there?
Vice
Oh,
Mayor.
she's hiding behind Lee.
I have another question. Do we still have a waiting list for CDBG?
Yes. Actually, I'm hoping to snag several of those for this application. They're going to have to refill out an application, but yes, we do. We'll probably have 40 approved. Consider those waitlisted anyway, because that's going to take a long time to go through. And then about 15 to 20 more on a wait list that we considered a wait list.
So wait, I'm confused.
So we approved 40.
On CDBG already?
CDBG. Those are the ones that we're rolling through right now.
Okay.
And then the ones that were kind of, they were in a good enough condition to where it was not an urgent repair in our opinion.
Okay.
You said
So
about 15 to 20 of those.
Yes.
Logan.
So we would be able to clear the CDBG list with this money, or?
I hope so, and
Okay.
and many, many more.
Now, do we still have CDBG money coming in also?
Yes. So we do need to keep those on the wait list. It sounds counterproductive, but we're likely going to be receiving enough rehab dollars throughout next year's annual action plan that we can finish. It's going to be another $250,000. So we can finish a lot of homes because we do typically cap those at $20,000. So we can do a lot of homes with $500,000.
Okay, so CDBG is capped at 20 and this will be capped at 65.
Occasionally we do go over if the roof bid comes back a little high. Those are typically the ones that we go over $20,000 on, but we try to
Bring to
stick
you
to
guys.
around $20,000 for speed on
Okay.
those.
I think that's all the questions I have, but I'll call you. If I
Oh
have
yeah,
more.
just wait until the program policy comes out.
That's fine.
And so the money that you have now for the CDBG,
Committed.
those for 40 houses, that money is allotted for those 40 houses?
Yeah, we constantly accept program inquiries so we can keep the list running. Because like we've been talking about, we fully intend to keep ramping up rehabilitations in CDBG and lower demolitions. Hopefully we get to that point. But yeah, we do accept applications. We've got to get the 40 done first.
Yeah, okay. And so the new funding that you get, but then the other applications could go ahead on and start to work on those homes as well.
With the new funding?
Yeah,
So
with the new funding.
like I said, I'd honestly like to keep those approved applications have been vetted at this point, and it's a heavy application process. They're ready to go. And we're going to have enough money to probably finish all of those 40. It's going to take a long time, but so is this one. It's going to take 2 years as well.
Right.
So those 40 in CDBG, they've been vetted, they've been approved, they've got all of their state and federal clearances to be done. So I'd prefer to keep those in CDBG and then just start a brand new program here.
I have one more question. Will we need to add staff to accommodate all of this?
Yes. Our current staffing capability with the vetting process that goes into these, I don't see how it's possible. I have one person in taking applications for CDBG. Now this is going to be hundreds probably.
Right. Okay.
Vice Mayor, in upcoming budget discussions, that's something you'll see.
Okay.
This is administrative as well, so that's only going to help us for 2.5 years.
Right.
But we can fund an employee through this program.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I budgeted for.
Oh, yeah.
It's over $250,000 for administration in this grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other items of information? Anybody?
You need to introduce.
Yeah, I do. I have one more, and then I'm done. I promise.
Great news for us.
Yeah, more great news. So I'd like to introduce our new planner, Mumuchu Gurung. She traveled here all the way from Oklahoma City. She now lives in the city of Danville. Mumuchu, do you want to give a little bit about your background?
Hello, like Logan said, I'm Mumuchu Gurung. I moved from Oklahoma. I was working as the brownfields planner with the city of Oklahoma City for the past 2 years. I got my master's from University of Oklahoma in Norman, and before that, I'm from Nepal. I did an undergrad in architecture from back home, did some work, and moved here. And now I'm living in Danville, working with Logan, and just excited about what's happening with this city, and just looking forward to work here more.
We're really excited to have her. She has a lot of qualifications and expertise that we might think she's a little crazy for joining this team, but we're really happy to have her. Her plate's already full, and she's been here since last Monday.
All right.
Welcome.
Wonderful.
Anybody? Well, unfortunately, there is not a need for closed session. Next week though, right, Mayor?
Next week we will, so.
Item number 11, review of the 2023 tax levy.
Summons you to be here.
Chairman, it's there. We haven't made any adjustments yet. We don't anticipate any adjustments, except that we expect that our tax rate will go down further based on the EAV. And we will have a first budget draft for you next week. If Ashlyn doesn't die trying to get all of this stuff ready for us.
Don't do that.
I may just burst into flames.
Council, anything? Good. All right. Committee members' comments? No?
Let's blow this pop singer.
What?
Let's blow this pop singer.
Oh, I thought you said some pop singer was singing.
I feel like a popsicle.
All righty, haven't satisfied the agenda. Motion for adjournment.
So
please.
move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. And everyone has to pronounce